Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
And what's it gonna do?
It doesn't matter how you're doing. Woo! Wheeling, dealing, limousine right, jet flying.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Would you please shut the hell up?
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.
The cream will rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the human rumble.
What up, what up? Welcome to episode 157 of Keep the Kayfabe. I'm Mike, sitting here with my boys, ready to talk some wrestling. And yes, the granddaddy of them all. 2 nights of WrestleMania 40, going down in Philadelphia this Saturday and Sunday night. It's pretty bolstered with some star-studded matches. We're going to run down a couple of them for our world-famous Keep the Kayfabe prediction show. We're going to see who King Booker is. We're not going to hit all the matches, but we're going to hit the highlights and give our thoughts in 2 cents. We're going to talk a little CM Punk up top because he had some things to say about AEW, and we want to review that. But before we get into all the good business of wrestling, let's talk to the boys real quick. He's over in Glendale. He is a man that keeps it regal. He is Steve Grobschmidt. What up?
For the 4 in attendance and the millions listening at home, let's get ready to suck it.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Excellent.
It's almost the weekend, baby.
Yeah, baby. Yes, it's a pleasure to be here as always. We haven't done a WWE prediction show in quite some time.
Probably a year.
I'm pretty ready to, basically. I think this is the only one we do a year. So it's good to tune in if you're a WWE fan. We should be covering it a little bit more, but, there's only so many hours in the day. But I'm ready to learn some things about this card, too, because I know you guys have been following a little closer. But, yeah, maybe I'll get lucky. Who knows? Alrighty, let's go over to the man with the golden pipes in Ohio. Gary Williams, what up, Gary?
Listen, brothers, I don't have a whole lot to say about a lot more about how I feel about Ric Flair. There's no respect, no honor. There's no honor amongst seeds in the first place. But you know what? He put the hard times on Dusty Rhodes and his family. You don't know what hard times are, Daddy. Hard times are when the textile workers around this country are out of work. They got 4 or 5 kids and can't pay their wages, can't pay their food. Hard times are when the auto workers are out of work and they tell them to go home. Hard times on Cody Rhodes.
Wow.
That's nice. That was good.
They got me a little emotional.
I know.
I might like that one better than Dusty Rhodes' version.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you.
If you would have dropped in a little cherry wine in there, that would have just made it a little bit sweeter.
Actually, the best line is, I couldn't get to it because it was long, but the best line, there were 2 bad people. One was John Wayne, and he's dead, brother. And the other's right here. His name is Nature Boy Ric Flair.
He's dead.
Shades of Christian Cage.
So good. Oh.
We did have a good actor.
That's hard
and that
times.
actor's dead.
And Ric Flair, you put hard times on this country about taking Dusty Rhodes out. I got to admit, I don't look like the athlete of the day is supposed to look. My belly's just a little big. My honey's just a little big.
My
brother, I'm bad. They know I'm bad.
I like that. You can get away in an era and time where you can say hiney and do it credibly.
That it's still, it's hard not to watch that and
that's why he
not think to yourself like, oh my gosh, like that guy was literally pulling it out of his backside. He had no script, no nothing.
Yeah,
just humming it. Like, how awesome. So, but yes, in tribute to his son, who will be main eventing not 1 but 2 nights of WrestleMania, thought I'd pull out the old Dusty Rhodes.
Well played.
Good to see you tonight, Gary. Thank you for that. Really set the tone.
Here
because, with that great impression comes another. He's a man that keeps it freshly squeezed, and his name is Matt Michelson, but he's also our neighborhood-friendly Val Venus. Val, how we doing tonight? We're talking about Jurassic Park. Is that correct?
Ooh. Hello, ladies. The big Valboski's here tonight in Jurassic Park. It's a little dangerous, but that's okay. Val will keep you protected because when the big Valboski sees a T-Rex and a Triceratops, well, the big Valboski will just tear off all their tops.
Yeah, why not?
Thanks, Val. Good wordplay.
That was good.
my Lord.
Excellent.
Very good.
Excellent.
I thought you were gonna bring in
Excellent.
like the Brontosaurus somehow or something like that too.
It could have spiraled into a 20-minute saga, but for the sake of our prediction show tonight, I thought I'd hit the highlights.
That was
Lots of
good.
stuff.
Raptor, I hardly knew her.
Yeah, there you go. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Mm.
Jurassic Park, 1994, 95 when that came out.
93.
93?
93. And
I mean, it still holds up.
It does.
I only know that because when Becky and I went on our first date to the movies, we went and saw Jurassic Park in
Nice.
theaters on its 20th anniversary. And then we went
Wow.
again in 2023 on its 30th anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Talk about long-term booking.
Right.
Yeah.
And the fact that
I
they
like
keep
it.
they keep re-releasing it shows how good it is.
That movie gave me nightmares when like that scene where those kids are in the kitchen with those raptors.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
the Raptors.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Scary as fuck. And I mean, in a good way.
Do you guys know how long dinosaurs lived?
It doesn't
No.
matter.
The same as
Oh.
the short ones. Do you know how long dinosaurs?
Oh,
Jesus
God.
Same as the short
Christ.
ones.
That's it. Wrap it up.
Hard times,
get
baby.
rid of that.
There's some hard times.
We're not doing the predictions. We're done.
Okay. Okay. Great. Well, perfect segue to another disaster. That is CM Punk ripping on his former employer Tony Khan. I didn't see the interview, but I guess he had some things to say. Who can give us a little summary of what happened?
So I ended up watching the whole interview. It was an
your
hour
heart.
and 50 minutes that Punk talked to Ariel Helwani. I think it was on Monday, maybe Tuesday of this week.
Yeah.
And frankly, there's so much to cover here. I'm just going to give you guys my thoughts on this. So I think the problem with CM Punk is that I believe everything he ever says. Everything he said in this interview seemed honest, and I had no reason to question any of it. Maybe with the exception of him saying that's the magic of CM Punk, like he was admitting that he's a master at, as he called it, blurring the line. But for us as fans, I think we need to decide where the line is. Otherwise, we have no idea what to believe. So for me, I came away from this believing, frankly, Punk's side of the story more than everyone else's. Jack Perry was definitely the breaking point, and Punk admitted this himself in the interview. And I think that Tony Khan sent Jack Perry to New Japan as a punishment because of everything that went down. But, and this is me speculating, I also think that Perry's bad attitude stems from never being told no by Tony Khan. The same things happen with other wrestlers. I mean, you think about guys like Sammy Guevara, and we talk about Chris Jericho almost every week and how he needs to disappear from TV. Yet here he is every week working paper-thin storylines with Hook. So that's my thoughts on that. Now, regarding Punk's relationship with the Elite, he talks about this a little bit. They clearly hate each other, and I think this interview confirms both sides of that. Now, there is part where Ariel Helwani mentioned Larry, CM Punk's dog, involvement in Brawl Out, to which Punk replied in a way that made it sound like Larry was heavily involved, but in a way that made Punk seem giddy about how everything went down. So that tells me, and again, this is me speculating, Punk may have gotten the best of the Elite in this exchange, whatever happened. Punk was really careful not to talk about Brawl Out or the NDA, at least not too much. But he did say, and I quote him, "I didn't sign an NDA for anything I did wrong." So does this mean that he was in the right, the Elite was in the wrong, but the Elite can't afford to look bad since they run AEW? And if they did look bad, that would completely fly in the face of everything AEW stands for. I think this is why everybody was so worked up about this interview, because that is the undertone that this whole thing set. So fast forward to Dynamite that aired at the time of this recording last night. Edge, now known as Adam Copeland, comes out, cuts a promo talking about how there's been a lot of negativity about pro wrestling this week. Screw that. Let's all have fun. Frankly, I don't feel like AEW needed to even acknowledge CM Punk. I think by doing that, they almost put him in the right in this whole situation. I don't know how you guys felt about Adam Copeland's comments on this. Personally, it rubbed me the wrong way, but I'll pause there. I guess, Steve, I know you had tossed it over to me to talk about the interview. I guess, what are your thoughts after hearing this?
So I feel I should disclaim that I am actually, no, I don't have to disclaim because I never like my opinions of CM Punk aren't consistent. I appreciated him for what he was in WWE. Wasn't my favorite, but I thought he was good, and I thought he kind of got railroaded at the end. I didn't when he came into AEW, it's not like he was my favorite, but I also have to admit, I think the storylines on TV like made him really compelling. So I guess the point I'm premising here is that I don't hate him, I don't love him, but I came in neutral. And but ever since the shenanigans he pulled in AEW, and we're not getting the whole story, obviously, because we're fans, it really soured me to him. And as such, obviously, I went into his his thing this week negatively because I don't like him anymore. But I just, things he said, I have no doubt there were accuracy to. I mean, is Tony Khan the best booker? Is he kind of let people walk all over him? Those things seem logical to me, but I just can't get past CM Punk coming across as this perpetually wronged, unhinged dude that at this point in his life should be past all this. But man, that dude just cannot let anything go, and he just seems unstable. Like, I know the words he said about Jack Perry, but it's like that whole thing. And I remember Bully Ray at one point was saying Jack Perry was out of line. Jack Perry's like 25 at the time. Like, should he have said that shit on TV? No, but it was the most minor ass thing to 99% of the fans, and for Punk to go violent about it, like when he's supposed to be the elder statesman, I think speaks volumes about him. So yeah, I mean, I think some of what he said in the interview probably is true, but I just can't take him seriously because he is just an unhinged, negative, nasty dude. He's probably not going to blow up because WWE is giant and corporate. Another thing he said that he's like went on about how Tony Khan is more about the 5-star matches than making money. Again, might be true, but that wasn't the CM Punk talking a couple years ago when he started. He was all about the 5-star and the dream and all that. So it's like he came across so corporate when he said that. And me, and again, I'm biased. I love AEW. I actually loved Edge's promo. If you didn't know what Punk was saying, luckily, like if you would have mentioned him by name, it would have been terrible. But I just felt it was just sort of, you just take it at face value. It's like what I want to be as a fan when I don't get caught up in the bullshit. It's like I love wrestling, and there's room. He purposely called out WWE positively. He name dropped Cody. It's a little weird, obviously, because there's like the Punk thing happened, but I thought it was like a really nice, well-intentioned, positive promo, and I kind of loved it. I could keep going, but I feel like I've hogged a lot of time here.
The fact of the matter is, in my opinion, why? Like, that's my thing. Like, why? Why did he feel the need to throw shade publicly? People that are, with no all due respect, only people that don't have respect for other people do those kinds of things. There were so many other ways he could have gone about this. And again, like, we're talking about the same guy who has never stayed anywhere long enough because he's either destroyed his own situation or created controversy. What Jack Perry did pales in comparison to what he did when he was his age. And so it's like, it's just a really, and I'm with Steve, and maybe it's the old school guy in me. Like, what Edge did, I thought was classy in that he just said, like, this is enough. Because the fact of the matter is, regardless of all the crappy images you see on Facebook where they say, oh, the arena's only a quarter full, blah, 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 or whatever, and we've got all these sellouts. At the end of the day, there is no one today that cannot deny the fact that AEW has pushed WWE more so than any league has in the last 2 decades. And whether we like everything they're doing or not, or vice versa, why throw negative shade unless you're insecure about something, whether it's insecure about yourself or insecure about the situation or whatever the case may be. So you listen to JR, you listen to Shivani this week on their podcast, and they're pretty much like, I'm not talking about this. We're done. Like, we don't have anything to say. We're not commenting about him. there's no more places for this negativity. It's time to move on. Agree or disagree, whatever the case may be, but why throw a haymaker right before WrestleMania if you don't want to draw attention to yourself because you're not actually in WrestleMania because you're hurt again?
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
You
come
think
on,
this guy
man.
goes to therapy?
If he does, he doesn't do enough. It's
I
because
hope so.
outwardly to wrestling fans, it's not working.
Because if he was, like, he needs a new therapist, and it seems like he just has these issues that he just needs to resolve.
You know what's funny about that is his wife
AJ
Lee wrote a book maybe 5-6 years ago about like it might have even been called Crazy Is My Superpower, but she talks about mental health and all that stuff, and it's like, dude, did you read your wife's book? You should.
It's
He's
been his
always working.
It's been his shtick his whole career. He's created controversy. It's his thing. I get it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like I don't know. That part is just getting old to me. Like I don't mind the way in character that the way he's kind of throwing haymakers at, you know, whether it's McIntyre or whether it's been Rollins and those guys. Like I think it's been great within the context of the character. But then all of a sudden to now re-dig up something that quite frankly we've been there, done that, and it's like, why? Like it just is immature for a guy who's supposed to be a professional and a guy who's supposed to be more mature. So I don't know. Sorry, Matt, because I know you do like him, and I don't want you to feel like I am disregarding what you had to say. I just you're generationally speaking, you do resonate with him in a different way than maybe Steve or I do, just because he was kind of like literally an in-betweenish kind of guy, right?
Oh, don't get me wrong, Gary. I think he's a piece of shit. Like, if I'm going to be very honest, I mean, that might come as a surprise after everything I said. But for those who aren't from the Milwaukee area or Wisconsin in general, obviously we are in Milwaukee. We've talked about that a lot in past episodes. There's a sort of an unspoken rivalry between folks from Wisconsin and folks from Illinois, specifically Chicago.
Sure.
And it's a difference in personality and mentality. CM Punk is very reflective of Chicago, and, you know, wrestling has not shied away from that at all. So a lot of the things he does, part of the reason he's so captivating is, I think the word I use.
Good word.
Is he brings out the worst in a lot of people. And, you know, you guys have done a great job summarizing it and kind of, I guess, why you think that. And it's true. And despite everything I said, with how he seems like he's being honest and seems like he may have been on the right side of the situation, does that mean he's a good person? No, not necessarily. Maybe in this situation, Steve, like you said, maybe some of the things he said are true. But at the end of the day, I think he's probably gotten more things wrong than he has right.
Yeah. And to his credit, he's got us talking about it. So it's like, this is why those guys do those things. And so, like, even when I was thinking to myself, like, what when we mentioned that we were going to talk about this, I even thought to myself, one of the things I didn't want to do was even talk about it and give him space and air because I just don't feel like he deserves it. Like, but then again, like, he does get under your skin like a good heel, and, you know, and for whatever it's worth, he plays his character well, and, you know, I'll give him credit in that regard. He does have a cult following, and, you know, it is what it is. I just think he's a douche. I
think if I could summarize this quickly, Phil, I know you're listening. Knock that shit off, man. Listen to Keep the Kayfabes. Look, you know, just is tired of it. So stop.
We're tired of the hard times.
But thanks for listening, Phil and AJ.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got another topic that we need to get to, and we got some matches we need to run down.
Yes.
I'm glad we got to touch on that for a little while, but let's get to WrestleMania. It's taking place on Saturday and Sunday. They actually released the match cards for both nights, so we can actually set up each night. We know what the opening match is on night one. We're going to get to that, but let's review the rules of what King Booker actually is. So what we do is we pick a match. Everybody weighs in, and they give their pick of what they think the outcome will be. We try to offset each other because you want to have the winningest record to become King Booker. You get a kick out. so you can change your decision by the end of the show. If you think you made a bad choice, you have one kick out. We have never had a perfect card. Somebody pick a perfect card. So we we already know what the opening matches are going to be. So that's usually the thing that really spoils the perfect card. But, this is WWE. It's a little more predictable. So hey, who knows? Maybe we might predict this week. If we're wrong, who knows? I don't know. We'll just have to see how it plays out. I'm excited. But there is an advantage of going last because you can see who all of your opponents, who they pick, and then you can try to offset them with some wild card rogue pick to try to steal that point and to decide who goes last. The King Booker currently is Gary. He develops a rule for us to guess and to see who will have the honor of picking last. So, Gary, do you have a rule for us, kind sir?
I do tonight. Tonight, I definitely do. And to our listeners, we are not going to go through the whole match card. It's far too long, and you don't want to hear us all that long, and we don't want to necessarily talk about every single match. So we have chosen what we consider 3 of the top matches from night 1, 3 of the top matches from night 2, and then a bonus 7th pick to solidify whether or not. So in case we have any ties or anything gets close. But in order to decide tonight who is going to go, to have the opportunity to go first, I'm posing the following question. This is a number guess, and the answer, and I will preface this by saying this is not a race, because I think for all 3 of you, you'll need to make a educated guess. So I went through this afternoon on my lunch break, of course, and I calculated the total posted attendance from every WrestleMania.
Oh my God.
From 1 to 39.
Holy shit.
God damn
What do you
it.
do for a living, Gary? Work on this podcast?
Thank you very much. And so I will allow a guess to not just be close, but could go over because of the extent by which this number is. But here is the range. The range is between 1.5 million and 2.5 million. So the range of total posted attendance from WrestleMania 1 all the way to WrestleMania 39 is somewhere in the range of 1.5 million and 2.5 million.
Okay.
Closest
I got it.
to it is going to have their selection. Mike.
1.69
Oh my fucking Lord.
million.
I just wrote a number down.
Steve,
You wrote
hilarious.
that too?
I wrote down 1.65 before you even said that. And that's
I
what
said 6.9.
I know. That's what's funny how
So
close
that's
we are.
valid. Okay.
I'll go
Great
1.
lovers think alike.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it though because that's
Nice.
what I wrote down before I heard your words.
Matt, this is big for you right now. Matt?
It is. I'm going to up the ante a little bit. I'm going to say 2.12.
Wow.
2.11 million.
Are you kidding me? That's how close he was?
That's how close you were, dude.
Wow.
Dude, you were right on. The answer is 2,118,879 on paper attendance. Now, this is, of course,
Of course, yeah.
Of course, it's all with a grain of salt. And you know what's fascinating is just watching it historically over time go from 15, 16, 17,000 seat arenas to then major. And
that's why I went lower.
Yeah.
Because I figured some of those early ones were like AEW weekly crowds.
Exactly. So, Matt, that is unbelievable. You definitely deserve the choice.
I was not looking over Gary's shoulder.
Yeah,
you are the numbers master though at the analytics and everything. So
that was good, dude. That was really good.
Trust me, analytics had nothing to do with that.
Yeah. Well, now we know. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Cool.
So this WrestleMania between the 2 nights should put them with another 160, close to 2.3, 2.4 million in attendance. It's pretty amazing.
Not too shabby.
Nope.
Nice little idea, this WrestleMania thing. Yeah, so let's get to it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, it's taking place in Philadelphia. It's going to be a rowdy and raucous crowd. It's going to be fun. So what's going to lead off on Saturday night is Rhea Ripley, current women's champion, versus Becky Lynch. All right, so full disclosure, I haven't really been watching a whole lot of wrestling, especially WWE. It's just been kind of what's happening right now. But I think Rhea Ripley is like the future and the shit. So I think she's going to hang on to this belt against Becky. So I'm picking Rhea Ripley.
I'm actually in the same place as Mike, believe it or not. I think that Rhea at this point is on a trajectory for greatness, and I really love her character. Plus, the other thing that's at play right here is there's a little bit of internal dissension with the Judgment Day that's kind of going on, which has been a really cool kind of like sprinkled storyline in this. And so we are not talking about the Judgment Day. We won't be predicting the tag team championship match, but I definitely think the Judgment Day are at risk of losing the titles. And then somewhere along the line within this weekend, also Damian Priest has got a cash in possible, but Rhea is definitely emerging as a superstar, and I cannot see. I think that they're going to use Becky to catapult her further in credibility.
I totally agree. I think Rhea is actually, let me start with Becky. I mean, she's already, I don't even know how old she is. She's probably still only early 30s, but she feels like with the whole, the man thing and all that has accomplished so much already. She's kind of already etched in the pantheon of women wrestlers in WWE. So in that regard, I don't feel like she needs the big WrestleMania moment. And Rhea, like some of the things Gary said, it's like she has kind of earned this spot. And I think back to when she like was in NXT back when that was like when I really watched NXT a lot. Like she was really compelling. And back then she was like early 20s. And then they moved her up to the main roster. And I know there was some question on where they use her right and all that, but this is somebody they seem to have invested in from day one, and rightfully so, because she's awesome. She's a great worker. She's a great promo. And I just cannot, to me, for the life of me, I don't see there's any value in giving Becky another big moment because she's had enough. It's Rhea's time. So I definitely am going Rhea.
Super. Matt?
I think this match could go either way, and the fans would enjoy it regardless. Gary and Steve both make really good points. It's a great position to be in. It reminds me of AEW during their epic run in 2021. I think you could argue either result, but I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley. Down the road, I think a match between Rhea and Jade Cargill would be a much bigger draw than seeing Becky Lynch cut the same fiery underdog promo for the 5th or 6th year straight. She's had her time, like Steve said. So there's still a lot they can do with Rhea.
She's a mom too.
Yes,
she's got other priorities.
Exactly. She's got other things she wants to accomplish in life.
Coming out.
Yeah, she's got a lot going on right now, so she could use a little time off. So all that being said, yeah, Rhea Ripley.
Alrighty. Okay, we're in unanimous decision that Rhea is going to retain on night one of WrestleMania. Let's keep the good times rolling here. We got Jimmy and Jey Uso facing off, two brothers. Yeet. Who is going to yeet one another? Well, I don't even know. I don't even know which one's which anyway. So if I haven't been watching, I don't even know. But since I like smoking Jays, I'm gonna pick Jey Uso for this one, just on that logic. So
I think that's a safe pick.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. I've never been a fan of the Usos. I can appreciate what they do in the ring. I don't know. Maybe it's just like a little bit of that anti WWE thing that has seeped in where I just don't get it with them. But I will say they've invested a shit ton of time on this feud. This has been going on a year plus, which is some patient storytelling, and it's kind of a long time coming. And if I can do a little quick aside, can you imagine these two dudes, like these brothers that have been around forever, but also are actual brothers, having a moment in WrestleMania wrestling each other? Like these two got to be over the frickin' moon. Like I don't have to not like them to feel really excited for them that they're getting this moment. But I think Jey, just in the interest of the whole bloodline thing going on, the anti-bloodline crew kind of needs to kind of get some wins, and I think that's going to be the theme of this weekend. So I'm going Jey Uso's going to beat his brother Jimmy.
Yeah,
Ready?
the idea. I think this is going to be a sleeper match of the weekend. I think it's going to be a really freaking awesome match, and I think it's going to remind us of things like Brett versus Owen,
Huh.
Brett versus the Bulldog. It's going to revive kind of just that feeling. Like I could only imagine how awesome the two of them have to feel to be able to wrestle each other and have this moment together at a WrestleMania. I think they're just going to pull out all the stops. From a story perspective, yeet all the way. I think we have to start to dismantle to some degree the bloodline. I think this is a good way of
For
doing
sure.
some of that on night one. I'll preface by saying some of that because I don't necessarily feel like the bloodline is going to be fully dismantled on night one. But I definitely think that Jey Uso takes the cake on this one and beats his brother Jimmy.
Okay. Matt, are you going to be the rogue and pick Jimmy, or stick with your boys and go with Jay?
I mean, I got to follow the crowd on this one and go with Jay. I have two thoughts on this match I'll share with you guys. One, I think this is the least thought out storyline surrounding the bloodline. So take that for what it's worth. Two, Jimmy Uso's character has no depth for me, and it's made it hard to care about him. That said, I'm going
other
with
than just being a lackey.
Right, exactly.
Roman.
So that said, I'm going with my gut on this one, and I'm going to pick Jay to win. Now, I understand that WWE likes to balance out heel wins and babyface wins on these types of shows, but you could seriously spend all day thinking about that. So setting that aside, Jey Uso is the obvious pick.
Okay. So no chop in the water yet, but we will certainly
Oh,
get some
I have a
chop on
feeling-
this next
I
match.
have a
Oh, there's going to
feeling-
be some chop going on right now.
I got
Wow,
some
the chop.
thoughts.
Big
got some
chops.
thoughts.
Yeah,
Okay.
baby.
And the match that is going to close the night on night one, it's going to be The Rock with Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. So
And this is where the bonus point, right, Mike? Bonus points
Correct.
on this one.
we're going to see who pins who. So you got to
That's the
name the
bonus.
person that does the pin and who gets pinned. So there's 3 points on the line here, to be honest with you. All right. So big match. This could decide it all for King Booker. Again, I haven't really been watching WWE, so I'll just go first and set the tone here, and you guys can call me wrong here. But I mean, this match basically sets up the second night. This is like your little
Correct.
cliffhanger, gets the crowd hard and horny for night 2. It's going to be awesome. I mean, Dwayne The Rock Johnson is just looking great. He's having a great time. I've been watching the highlights. So they're the bad guys in all this too, right? So they're the heels. I feel like the bad guys are going to win, Rock and Roman. So I think The Rock is going to do some pinning. And I think he's going to pin Cody Rhodes. That's my pick.
Interesting.
Well, what's interesting about this match is the hidden stipulation, right? Because the stipulation is if the bloodline
Wins.
lose, if they win, yeah, then the main event between Roman and Cody is, in essence, a no holds barred match, bloodline rules match, and then vice versa. If the good guys, Cody and Rollins win, then it's no bloodline allowed, and so the unfortunate veteran of the wrestling wars knows in me is having a hard time not seeing how the story doesn't make things more compelling night 2 with the bloodline winning on night 1. The questions, though, that are emerging for me is the speculation on whether Rollins turns on Cody, who does what. So I theorize that Rock and Roman are going to win, but it is actually going to be Roman who pins Cody and pisses off The Rock and that will lead to dissension on night 2. That Rock will actually have Cody ready for the pin, but then Roman's going to take it from The Rock and pin Cody on night 1 and create this controversy going into night 2.
Wow.
All right. So your picks are.
My pick is Rock and Roman to win. Roman pinning Cody.
Okay. Got it. Just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Well, I'm going to chime in now because I have to. And this is interesting to me. And I went back and forth on my pick because I could see this is like one of those great situations in wrestling where really multiple scenarios will work out just fine. But I think where my head's going at here is that there's clearly going to have to be dissension that winds up happening between Roman and The Rock. It's dissension that spirals into night 2. I think that Cody and Seth are going to win. And I think Cody is going to beat The Rock, pin The Rock. And then Roman's going to get super pissed at The Rock, maybe even slap him in the face for letting the bloodline down. And that's going to be your whole, like, those two don't get along going into night 2.
Interesting.
It might be a little out there because conventional wisdom would be that the bad guys win so that I guess I don't want to spoil what we predict next, but it just seems set up for the bad guys to win. But I don't know. That to me, I was trying to work out ways that could make
another swerve.
Yes, another way to get Roman and Rock at odds. And I could see it being where The Rock like actually loses the match and then Roman's like super disgusted with him. So that's where I'm going with that one. And I'll probably be wrong, but I like the idea of it.
I love the idea too. I think it's pretty cool.
So before I tell you my pick, I want to give some credit to you, Mike, because you came onto this prediction show admitting to all of our listeners that you don't watch WWE. And I think that goes to WWE's credit in how they've booked leading up to this WrestleMania, because having not even watched the product, you're able to look at the card. And I mean, we've all watched WWE for years, maybe not in recent memory, but you've seen enough of it to know what feels right. That's commendable. And I think it's pretty cool that we can look at this WrestleMania card and just on gut feel, have a really good sense of what might happen. But then when you start to get into the weeds of it, kind of like Steve was just describing and Gary too, there's so many different ways they can book this. And I love every possible outcome. It's the best possible position they could be in. Now, having said all that, The Rock and Roman, in my opinion, have to win this. You can't introduce this concept of bloodline rules as a possible stipulation on night 2
and not do it
and just not follow through with it. Right. Exactly. So you also can't have The Rock or Roman get pinned on night 1. If The Rock gets pinned, it completely flies in the face of him being the final boss, as he calls himself. And if Roman gets pinned, it kills his aura as this unconquerable champion. It kind of undermines the match on night 2, right? So yeah, for me, Rock and Roman.
I feel like if Roman gets pinned, Cody fans need to be very, very, very worried for night 2.
Right. Now, Steve, I'm glad you said that. So who do I think's pinning who? Now, I'm going to say, I think The Rock pins Rollins. It's a safe bet, but The Rock needs to solidify his place as the final boss. If he's really the final boss, he's got to be the guy getting the win for him and Roman, and he could hold that over Roman's head. There could be some other shenanigans throughout the match that lead to dissension between those two. WWE's got plenty of time to build that up, especially if the plan is to have Roman and The Rock face each other at something like SummerSlam or WrestleMania next year. It's got to be a slow burn. Rollins, for me, is in a spot right now where he can afford to take a loss. Frankly, I don't really give a shit about Rollins at this point. He can do whatever, and he'll spin off into some new storyline that works for him. So Rock and Roman win the match. I think The Rock pins Rollins.
Rock pins Rollins.
A lot of disagreements here.
That's
I like
good.
it.
Yeah. So to review, I said Roman and Rock win. Rock pins Cody. Steve said Cody and Seth win, so he's the lone one there. He said Cody will pin The Rock. Gary said Rock and Roman. Roman pins Cody. Roman and Rock is Matt's choice, and Rock pins Rollins. So we're going to have a winner, no matter what.
We got a winner.
There's going to be no ties, so very good diversity there. I love it. We will see what this match has in store. So it's going to be a nice little Saturday night. I'm actually going to a concert that night. I'm actually going to fangirl out. There's this band called Nation of Language. Little plug real quick, everybody. If you like The Cure or Depeche Mode.
I do.
Listen to this band. I discovered them about 2-3 years ago, and the band's name is Nation of Language. They're out of New York, and they're young, so they have like this sound that sounds like the 80s, but they're current. I heard one song. It was called Tournament, and it was just like really caught my attention. And then I added them to my playlist, and then they came up more, and I heard the rest of their album. I'm like, holy fuck, like this group is great. So I started sharing them all over the place. They released 2 more albums since I saw them live. When I saw them live, I was like, yes, I'm finally going to hear this song Tournament live. Like I've been waiting for like 3 years to see this live. I'm going to go crazy. They actually opened the show with my second favorite song, and I'm just like, yes, this is going to be such a great night. And the night was awesome, but they didn't play my favorite song. So I'm like, wow, the concert was still incredible. I was with like 2 of my best friends. We had an awesome time. I bought all the vinyl. I got a set list. I actually waited after the show to get all my shit signed because that's kind of the guy I am when it comes to a band that I really, really love. I'll just hang out. Like I just want it for my collection and I get them all signed to Gino now, so he'll get them all. So it'll be cool.
Nice.
But it was funny because I'm just like, yeah, awesome show. Thanks for signing all my vinyl. Hey, how come you guys didn't play Tournament? Like they have 3 albums, like, and they can't play everything.
Right.
And they don't really write a bad song, but they're just like, yeah, we can't get to every song we want to play. So sorry about that. I'm like, okay, well, next time you come to town, make sure you play it.
He's like browbeating him.
I'm like such a bad fan. Just be like, what the fuck, you guys? Come on. But it is a great song. So anyway, Nation of Language. Check it out, everybody. You'll love it.
I wrote it down.
Cool.
Yeah, enjoy. Just start with that song, and then their second album is so-so. Third album's really solid. But after you see them live, the second album grows on you. So overall, great band. Let's get back to the wrestling. All right. So night 2, Logan Paul versus Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. So this is pretty awesome. So we got a veteran, Randy Orton. We got another veteran in Kevin Owens. Then we got this up and coming guy by the name of Logan Paul. Ever hear of him?
Once or twice.
He's becoming kind of Mr. WrestleMania for these Mr. WrestleMania moments. So I'm going to say he upsets them all. I'm going to say Logan Paul is going to stick it to the legend killer Randy Orton and Mr. KO Kevin Owens. Logan Paul is my pick.
I know I normally get to go last, but I feel compelled to jump in here. I'm in the same boat as Mike. And now I think Logan Paul is going to retain. Frankly, I think the build for this match has been the weakest of all the matches we're predicting tonight. Now, I want to make a hot take here. As a fan, and I never thought I'd say this, I would love to see Randy Orton win this match. I feel like the run he's having right now is the pinnacle of his career, and I'd love for him to be acknowledged for that. Kevin Owens, he's great. I love Kevin Owens, but he's always great regardless of whether or not he has a title. So, yeah, I'd love to see Orton win. Frankly, though, I think Logan Paul's going to retain.
I do agree. I think it's going to be one of those cases where it's probably even. I mean, Logan Paul's legit. He's not like I don't. So what I'm about to say isn't a disservice to him, but he's in there with 2 legends. So, and I think the legends are going to be like tooth and nail. You're going to see their finishers. They're going to do the lion's share of the 5-star potential match ability, and Logan Paul's going to kind of weasel it at the end, like works out well in triple threat matches. It's like a lot of times they position this that the champion's like at a disadvantage, but yet a lot of times it feels like the champion wriggles out at the last minute. So yeah, I don't know if it's going to be something like KO eats an RKO or vice versa.
Yeah.
Orton eats a stunner, and then Logan Paul kind of manages to steal the pin. I think it's going to be something just like that. One of those two finishers is going to get used, but Logan's going to pull it off and win.
Definitely KO eats an RKO, because I can just picture Corey Graves saying that.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think we're all aligned on this one. Logan Paul has grown on me. I was really having a hard time. And again, maybe this is the wrestling purist in me with the, the sensationalization of these characters like Logan Paul or Bad Bunny that are wrestling. But I gotta admit, I mean, he really does bust his ass, and he's doing a great job in the ring. And I think he is finding ways to use his platform to really put over wrestling in a meaningful way. And I think that that's pretty cool. I mean, and he has mainstream appeal, for good or for bad. And although I did see his brother he's facing Mike Tyson in a boxing match. Is that correct? I believe this is correct. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson in a boxing match. And there is I don't know if it's a meme or a GIF or whatever of back in the Steve, what was the Nintendo game with Mike Tyson? What was the character that Mike Tyson's Knockout? There was like the weak character. I don't forget he's a blonde haired guy.
Joe.
Oh,
yes.
So I don't know if you've seen there's this spitting images of the two of them, and I think it's hilarious. But anyways, I think also that Orton and KO find a way to to beat up on each other accidentally, and Logan Paul comes out ahead. But I do think that Logan Paul is going to surprise people by some of his the move set that he's going to use in the match, and I think he's going to surprise some people in terms of just how talented he really is. Which for me, this is one of the knocks I've had on WWE that I think Randy Orton and KO get, which is they're different. They're just different. And they're going to put over Logan Paul, which is something that we see in AEW often, which is veterans putting over younger guys. This is going to be another one of those cases where I really think that the veterans are going to do justice, for the younger guy.
All right. So your pick, Gary?
Logan Paul.
Logan Paul.
We're all in agreement with Logan Paul. Okay. Perfecto mundo. We're going to the next match. Seth Rollins is wrestling again in night 2 versus Drew McIntyre. All right. So, Drew McIntyre, he's had his WrestleMania moment, but it was in front of no one.
It's true.
And when he became the champ. Seth Rollins is the current champ, correct? And this is
Correct.
a championship match?
Correct.
I mean, Seth Rollins is, he's hot. I mean, dude's hot right now. There's an equally bigger match later, and I think there might be a title change in that match. So why would Drew McIntyre beat Seth Rollins? And he's already, Drew McIntyre is fine doing the jobs. He's fine winning the belt in front of no one. He's always going to be there. And we know AEW is a shit company, and he's not going to go over there, according to CM Punk. So I think Drew McIntyre does the job to Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins retains. That's my logic.
I'm gonna skip all you guys and go here again.
Again.
Where's
Look at you.
Where's the honor?
Captain aggressive tonight.
You got to play to win. Mike, I think you've been smoking one too many of those J's you were talking about in the beginning of the show, because Drew McIntyre's new character is seriously one of the best things in WWE.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen.
Okay, I haven't been watching. I've been drinking tequila, by the way. I'm actually THC free tonight.
That's awesome. Good for you.
Because I left it upstairs, and that's the only reason.
It's the only reason.
It's such a long way up there always. I know. So fair enough. I think from a booking perspective, it makes all the sense in the world to put the title on McIntyre right now. That tees him up for a blood feud against CM Punk with a title at stake, which is huge. Now, Gary mentioned that this match is happening on night 2, so Seth will already have wrestled on night 1. I think Seth's going to take the pin on night 1. That would put him in a position to lose again and then spin off into a brand new storyline where he gets completely unraveled. Drew's made enemies with a whole lot of people with this new character, so he's already set up to have a solid title run. It's got to be Drew McIntyre.
Okay.
I think that's an excellent pick. I don't want to go on a rant here, but I fucking hate it. It's Seth Rollins. I mean, I've hated Seth Rollins for a long time. I don't think he's as good as people say. I think he's a good wrestler, but so are like 3 dozen other wrestlers.
Amen.
I think this character is shit. I hate it. It's fucking annoying. He's not a good actor. I just hate it. So I'm not going to go on a further rant than that. I can't stand Seth Rollins. Plus he nearly crippled Sting and Finn Balor. So fuck you, Seth. Secondly, sorry, I got a little crazy there. I got a little
Hard times.
That was the bourbon. Sorry.
Hard times, hot takes with Steve Grobschmidt.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, when you look at the comparison of the characters, like, my God, Drew McIntyre is like knocking out promo after promo. There's nothing not to like about him. In fact, he should be the baby face in this because he's saying he's spitting truths about this like schnivelly, like pretentious, over the top, arrogant, like dipshit. Like, Drew has to win this, and if he doesn't, there's something wrong with the universe. So I hope, to allude back to what you just said, I hope Seth, I mean, even though I picked Seth and Cody to win, there's part of me that hopes you're right and he takes 2 pinfalls and then blows up this character and actually comes up with something that he can actually pull off like credibly instead of this garbage. So Drew McIntyre, screw you, Seth Rollins. I'm done.
I don't even know what to say after all that. Other than I do agree with all of you. The chanting for Rollins makes no sense to me at all. Like 0 sense. Like I don't like. That's one of those things where you're just like, I get Judas. People are singing along to it. I get some of the other ones, but that is just annoying. And it just, I don't know. I'm with Steve. I have enjoyed the Joker-esque antics of Seth Rollins because I think the Joker is kind of a bit of like inspiration for this, but I think at this point Rollins has been too goofy, and I think he is due for some sort of character change. And so also there's a lot of speculation, tons of internet speculation about, McIntyre and his contract on well, little do we all know, but on June 15th, WWE's got Clash at the Castle in Glasgow, Scotland, which is McIntyre's hometown. So I can't even imagine him not re-signing, and B, him not main eventing that as a champion on June 15th.
It's funny how like the internet dirt sheets and all that fall for this shit. Like MJF is freaking re-signed and isn't going anywhere.
Oh,
Drew
God.
McIntyre's not going anywhere. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think sometimes it's err on the side of what's logical.
So with all of you, Drew McIntyre over Seth Rollins.
Alrighty. Well, I don't know. I might kick out. I might not. We'll see.
You got to get some differentiation from the crowd too.
True that. I don't know. I still think my logic is okay.
I think so.
Well, maybe he wants to be supportive to his wife too on this book tour. I mean, if Becky loses and Seth loses, and then they're going, maybe this is their punishment for doing something outside the company for themselves, like focusing on their family and promoting a book and yada yada. But I don't know.
I will say, friend of the show, Nick Mulvey, who has posted, he wants Rollins in this one, and I was a little surprised. He and I talked this afternoon because I was trying to get a little insight from the nation, from our listeners out there. So,
yeah,
friend of the show, Nick, he was like, you know what, he's like, I'm going Rollins, and so I thought that was kind of interesting. And then also. Friend of the show, Mark, my cousin, he believes that Punk is actually going to be there to distract Drew and cost him the match, and so he he thinks Rollins wins and Priest is
Cashes in. There's that whole thing. That's
So,
right.
I thought those. I wanted to bring our listeners into the. Even though I did not go with them.
Honestly, I feel like that must suddenly make, because I forgot that makes Mike's pick very compelling, because I feel like if Seth wins, Priest comes out of it, like,
absolutely
cashing in.
without
I think
a shadow of a
if
doubt.
Drew wins, I don't think they'll do that.
Which Priest and McIntyre have had history as well.
Yeah.
And so damn it.
Mark, great call. I love that idea. Nick, thanks for listening to the show, but you're about as high as Mike is every other night we record.
Yeah, and you need better role models.
Yeah, and if you want to come at me over it, you can talk to Gary. He knows where to find me.
Yeah, talk to Gary.
Yeah.
Nick, let's get in touch with each other. Let's be friends. And have our own Zoom call.
Nick's
from
a good
these
man.
haters.
Nick's a good man.
We don't need to be friends.
He's a realtor. Awesome dude.
Nick sounds like Glenn to me.
Okay, I'm using my kick out. I'm using my kick out for the first time in my career.
What?
I have never kicked out. I am going with Seth Rollins.
My gosh.
Because Matt, you remember you said this a couple weeks ago. When the people speak, you can't go against them. And I had two friends of the show say Rollins. So I'm kicking out, going Rollins. If I'm wrong, I'm gonna find those two guys and hunt them down. But I think the idea that this is where Damian Priest comes into play, I think that's going to be the swerve. So Mike, you brainiac that came up with this idea first. I'm kicking out and going with you, buddy.
Matt, what's going on with this reefer smoking crew?
I'm not even high.
Not one day. I'm just high on life, baby. Just high on life.
What were you gonna say, Matt?
I think I might be turning heel in spite of myself. All this shit going on. I'm turning my back on the fans. I'm calling out Nick. I'm throwing Mike under the bus multiple times within 10 minutes.
But giving me credit 10 minutes earlier.
Well, just like any good heel, I'm going to put you over, but I'm going to bury you too.
I want to point out something, Matt. Like, you and I are the best friends, and look what happened to the best friends yesterday.
Oh, exactly.
So I think you're just being a good best friend, Trent, and just you're tired of the bullshit.
Full tilt.
All
right. Okay, boys. We got one more match left to review in this edition of King Booker WrestleMania 40. Keep the kayfabe, baby. All right. And it's a big one. Fucking Roman Reigns, Mr. 1,000 whatever number days it's been as he's been as champion. Yeah, hasn't it?
Well,
I watched the highlights.
Somewhere
they
in
said
the
1,000 something.
Yeah, as of January, as of the 1st of February, he was 1,240.
There you go.
And so he's another 30, 60. So
that's insane.
Over 1,300 days.
He's 1,300 days. And Hogan is next at 1,474. 1,474.
Okay, so I'm glad we brought that up. So keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm. Mike, I'm going to do you a solid. I'm going to kick this one off. I'm going to do you a solid. Right. I'm going to let you, because we had a show at the beginning of the year. It was our prediction show did we not have a show? I believe we had a show. And I said at that time.
Mine's already wrong.
I said at that time, there's no way that Roman Reigns is not passing Hulk Hogan. And I am standing by that. Ooh. He wins.
Yeah, you're right.
And the story, the hard times continue. I mean, here's the deal. At the end of the day, we're in Philadelphia. They will not give a shit about Cody Rhodes. I'm sorry. They're just not going to. That crowd is going to be like, think about the last couple crowds on SmackDown and Raw where The Rock is just getting cheered massively. Like, I cannot believe that they would get Roman Reigns to 1,300 days and have him fall short of Hogan by 100 days. To come all this way, it just not, I can't believe it. You want to talk about just idiotic move? I would just say now I'm going on a rant, and my rant is, how can you have one of your greatest champions not be the greatest champion of the WrestleMania era and pass Hulk Hogan and let Hogan stay there? You can't do it.
You can't take that back. It's like
You can't take it back
because no one's gonna do that again. Like nobody's
Yeah.
gonna get this close again. So it's like, damn.
I'm saying that somehow, some way, this continues, because here's the thing, you guys. Another thing. Cody is not. He cannot carry. He just can't do it. I'm sorry. Like Cody's a good dude, but the WWE has.
Can't do it.
He can't do it. He just can't do it.
Can't do it.
And the fact of the matter is, honestly, neither could Dusty. If you look back in the history of Dusty Rhodes and his title reigns, you tell me what title reign lasted more than a month or two in the modern era.
Well, Dusty couldn't do it now or then because he's dead.
Good point. Good point.
Just like John Wayne.
Well, and if they take the title off of Romans, they're gonna sling that motherfucker around like it's a hot potato.
Yeah.
So if they want to protect the Hogan, if they want to honor the Hogan streak and protect the title, they would keep it on Roman, like Gary has said. And I think they are, because they're invested this long in it. And what's the harm if they keep it on? It's the same fucking shit.
It's the same thing.
Like, why?
They're going to sell out shows. They're going to sell out arena. What's the difference?
He only needs to hold it for like 3 months past WrestleMania to break this record.
SummerSlam?
To be the all-time.
Well, the problem is, I think it's September, so that's where the catch is, right? But it could be Survivor Series.
All right, fine.
Fuck.
Guess what? I bet he might not even drop the belt next WrestleMania. So I was going into this fully gonna go with Cody Rhodes, just a new blonde-haired babyface to finally just overthrow this 1,000 stupid ass number. But I mean, the last blonde-haired babyface was Hulk Hogan, and if you like, it's under a new name with a new person running it. They want to set a precedent. This would be a decision to make to go after an unbreakable record, which will never be broken again, because who is going to break it? There's nobody in the pipeline that's even going to get close to this motherfucker.
All good points.
So why the hell not keep the thing on Roman? It's going to be stupid. Well, I don't know. It's not going to be stupid. It's going to be a good match, fine. It's just like, I'm just so sick of this guy winning. But they're so invested in it, why bet against it? So that's why I'm not. So I'm going with Roman. That's my logic.
If Cody Rhodes wins, the Philadelphia crowd will boo him out of that stadium.
Do you think so?
I think so.
Guaranteed. I've been to Eagles games.
They'll be drunk.
They're brutal.
So they like to boo. They'll be pretty drunk.
Well, now you notice Matt's not piping up over there, all eager to jump the gun.
Yeah. So, Steve, I guess it's your turn.
Son of a bitch. So I came in as resolute. Okay, if we're going to go back to predictions, I did not make my official prediction in the beginning of the year was stupid. It was that Hangman was going to be the next champ. Forget that. But if I evoke my, Charlie and I being on the same page back when Cody signed, we both emphatically said Cody will never be the world champion. Forget about it. And here I am coming in despite that, and never particularly being that big of a Cody fan. My coming into this prediction show is going to be that Cody has to win. He has to win. It's completing the story. And then Gary makes this passionate, eloquent argument that's nearly impossible to debate. And I'm just conflicted now. I'm in pain. I'm hurting. But you know what? Far be it for me to agree with a weaselly snake like Gary Williams. I'm going to stick with Cody Rhodes as the pick. It's time to complete the story. And WWE, they plans change. I think they're not going to break Hogan's record. So yeah, I think Cody Rhodes.
You can't
is
even say it with a straight face. You
he's
can't.
going to win. No,
You're so weak right now. There's no chance.
you know how yeah, nothing you say can be really truly credible. So
I've
I'm
been King Booker how many weeks and how many times in a row?
that's fake news.
I think Steve just turned babyface on Gary. And at the same time tonight, I've turned heel. So, okay. So, Steve, like you said, I've been sitting over here kind of quiet.
Tell me I'm wrong.
So,
You're
Gary,
wrong.
you, like Steve said, you made a very impassioned speech. You made a lot of good points. Longtime listeners know I have a really difficult time not following logic. But here's something you might not know. I'm a very spiteful person. And when I become spiteful, logic goes 100% out the window.
Mm.
So it's going to be Cody. I think there's a 0.1% chance and this 0.1% bit of doubt that keeps telling me Roman will win again. Now, remember, Cody created an entire promotion to spite and compete with WWE. There is no way Triple H has forgotten that. However, given how great WWE's become as of late and how undeniable Cody has become amongst the fan base and everything WWE's put into this program, it would be a catastrophic business decision for WWE to not put the title on him at this point. That said, I'm picking Cody. ...
I love this. I mean, that's pretty compelling to go into a WrestleMania. I mean, and I'll admit, jokes aside, like about Gary, like I was teetering on the edge of changing my pick because every word you said is logical. Like, and I've said that for a long time. It's like you've gone this far with Roman, you can't take that back if he loses. So
No.
it's actually really compelling, which is what you want.
At the end of the day, as a wrestling fan, this is why, to bring something full circle, this is what pisses me off about CM Punk's comments, because today's wrestling is as compelling and fun as it's been in a very long time.
Hell yeah.
And for the first time, we have, as predictable as the WWE has been, they have taken us on a pretty freaking cool ride over the last 6 months, especially. And in the thought that we're going into WrestleMania and we really aren't sure what's going to happen, honestly makes me want to watch it. It really does.
I couldn't agree more, Gary. I think we've talked a lot on past episodes how we are huge AEW fans. That's no secret to the longtime listeners. I am so happy that we can sit here tonight and run down this card and genuinely be happy about how great these matches are being booked, how many different possible outcomes of storylines there are. The fact that The Rock is back and actually good again, not that he was ever bad, but he's just on a whole other level compared to what he has been. This is how I wish wrestling always was. And I think this is why we get so hard on AEW, because we know they can be this good. We've seen it before. We know they can do it again. I'm shocked to see WWE back in the state it's in, and I'm so happy that they are. This is going to be a great WrestleMania.
And I think, and this is again, not to beat a dead horse, but this is why what CM Punk did is just dumb. Like, why? Why are you throwing shade right now? Like, they should all be happy for each other. They really should.
He's a baby.
He's a baby.
And it just
baby.
It just irritates me that, like, I don't care what anybody says. AEW has pushed WWE to be more compelling than it ever has been, and vice versa. We're getting banger matches, and it is very reminiscent to 1980 NWA WWF. End of story. Two very different brands, two very different kinds of ways of going about things, and the fact that people keep trying to compare them just is just not. It's apples and oranges. It really is. It might be professional wrestling, it might be sports entertainment, but they both are doing very different things, and they both have
Mhm.
their place right now.
Which is great. Steve, do you have any final comments before I try to sum up my thoughts after this great prediction show?
I think our colleagues here said it so great. I mean, I'm not gonna blow sunshine up our listeners' asses and act like I'm suddenly the world's biggest WWE fan. I've been maybe not Charlie level, but I've been pretty critical over the years, and I'm still not over it. But this is fun. This is like fun talking about it. And it's because it's like something. Was it Matt said earlier about how WWE, especially for a show like this, is like by far their biggest show. Does a really nice job. Like you don't like if you didn't watch the WrestleMania, you can very quickly get up to speed to get them enough of it to enjoy the show. And I think that's like the magic of it. It's like these matches there's other matches we didn't cover. Like there's enough there that you can like it's yeah, of course it's going to be a good show. And I think this double main event thing alone is like some of the most compelling stories years in the making building up. That's like pretty damn interesting.
Hell yeah, brother. So it's hard to get eyes on anything nowadays with it being a campaign year, with like sports. Everybody's fighting for eyeballs and attention. And I feel wrestling is stronger than it's ever been. And thankfully and wrestling is great when WWE is great. We've been pumping AEW's tires because we've been wanting it to be great because we are wrestling. We love the business. We love the art that is wrestling. And if you go back and listen to every prediction show that we've done, which you should, they're pretty fun. They're pretty good. If you're a wrestling fan, you'll probably agree with one of us on any of these prediction shows. And it's proof tonight. Even me, who's not really paying attention to it, I still have an opinion. People that are paying attention to it, they have an opinion. And the great thing is, we all think we are right, but we are all different. So basically, wrestling is such a great blueprint for your outlook and perspective and scope on life. You can be so set in your ways, but you can be open to alternative outcomes and what will happen, and only time will tell. So if you're a hard person that is going through something right now, maybe some hard times, maybe loosen up a little bit. You know,
Yeah,
you don't
right.
you don't have to keep it totally hard all the time. There's actually 3 little pieces of advice that I like to live by, and it actually helps me in my day to day. I'd love to share them.
Please do. I think
Please
I
do.
think we want to hear this right now.
All right. Well, when you don't know what to do in life or who to pick or who's going to win between Seth Rollins and McIntyre and yada, 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 it's just always, you're going to make your pick, but it's always important to stay humble, stay hungry, and stay hard.
Oh, Triple H.
Hard times, baby.
This is such good shit.